So I'm back with an update. Just wanted to check in and see how the makeup held up. So it's been about 5 hours. I started filming around 7 and it's now just about midnight. So far everything's holding up quite perfectly actually. Nothing has broke up on me, nothing started to do any kind of weirdness. So I'm super pleased with that. So I kind of wanted to go through and individually talk about each product and kind of go over what I liked, what I didn't like, so that way we can kind of figure out if it's going to be worth our money or not. So the first product we're going to go over is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer Base. It did really good actually. The makeup laid over top of it very, very nicely. It's not caused my makeup to break apart, slip and slide around, anything crazy like that. It definitely has kept everything mattified, and it also again has not dried out my face, but it definitely kept the makeup looking hydrated without being overly drying. It did blur my pores, not as good as some of them that I've had, but considering all the other things that it does, I'm very impressed that it also helped even out my pores and any kind of fine lines. So overall, this is definitely a yes for me. I would definitely repurchase this. I'm going to continue using this product. Another thing that I liked about it is that it kind of almost had a tacky feeling, like once I applied it. And typically when primers have kind of like a tacky base, a tacky feeling, it allows your makeup to adhere to it a lot better, giving you more of a long-lasting look. You can get more out of your makeup for the full day. It'll help it stay on all day. And so far, just with the 5 hours, I mean, everything has stayed in place. So I'm very, very pleased with this. So yes, thumbs up for me on this one. So the next item we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild PhotoFocus. It does say it is a matte finish. I find that it's actually more of a natural finish, almost with like a little bit of radiance, but not dewy, not too matte, just kind of right there perfectly in the middle, which that's actually my preference, is kind of a more natural finish. I did prefer how it applied with a sponge better, but it did apply beautifully with both a brush and a sponge. So it's nice to have that option. Also like the packaging, it's got a nice glass bottle. I really like the spatula applicator as well. It really allowed you to kind of disperse the product, you know, directly from the spatula. Now, of course, if you use it directly from the spatula, kind of going onto your face and back in the bottle, that could cause potential like bacteria buildup. So you could always just do, you know, with clean hands, put a little bit of the product on the back of your hand and then from your hand directly onto your skin, to prevent any type of potential breakouts. But I really did enjoy the spatula feature on this. I do kind of prefer a pump, but I really did like that feature on this. I never had a foundation that had that before, so I really did like that. So the coverage on it was very adaptable. Whether you wanted like a light coverage, medium, or full, you could kind of start it out as light and build it up all the way to full without it looking cakey, which is very nice to find in a foundation. So if I kind of wanted more of a light to medium day, I would probably use a sponge. That would just help me get the results that I wanted a lot easier. And then if I wanted a more medium to full coverage, I would probably apply this with a brush. But it's nice to have both options and to know that you can get any results that you want from both options. So I would gonna continue using this, definitely repurchase this. This is absolutely a yes from me. The next item we're gonna talk about is the Wet n Wild MegaLast Incognito Concealer. And it says it's an all-day full coverage concealer. I agree. I think that it is very full coverage, even with just the little bit that I applied, and it hasn't creased up on me. It hasn't made my under eyes dry at all. It's a very hydrating formula, and it's also not overly drying or creasy. And you also don't need a whole lot of powder to keep it set in place. I liked the finish on this. I like the coverage on this. So yes on this one as well from me. So far a bunch of yeses. So we love that, especially from a brand that is so affordable. That there are great products out there at an affordable price that you can buy and that are going to work well, if not better than some luxury brands. So So the next item we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Color Icon palette. So I swatched all these for you. So the color story is very beautiful. It's very easy to use. It's very great for day to day. The mattes were very blendable and smooth and easy to work with. The shimmers were very vibrant and creamy and also very easy to work with. So these eyeshadows did have a little bit of fallout and kickback. Kind of as I was swatching them, I could tell they could potentially be that way. And for the price point on this is a great palette, a lot of great shades for such a low price. And you get, you know, your mattes and your shimmers and kind of more your glittery shades. So I really enjoyed this. So yes, I would absolutely recommend this. Right, so next item we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild PhotoFocus Banana Powder. I love how much you get. So honestly, the amount of product that you get in this for the price point that you're going to pay is actually a wonderful deal. The powder is extremely finely milled, so it doesn't cause your face to get caked up when you go to set it. And the shade on it, being that it's more of like a yellowy tone, really aids in correcting any darkness. I would 100% recommend this. This is a great powder. Again, I love that it's very finely milled. Doesn't get any kind of cakey, any kind of weirdness. So definite thumbs up on this one. Alright, so coming right off that one, we're going to talk about the Wet n Wild PhotoFocus Translucent Powder. Again, same packaging, same amount of product, same formula, it seems like. So it's still, again, very finely milled. It's just the color is different. So whereas the banana powder is kind of more the yellowy shade to aid in the brightening, this is just a translucent powder. So the idea of a translucent powder is that it's not going to change the shade of your foundation or anything that you've laid down first, any creams or liquids or anything like that. It's just supposed to set your face and keep it from getting oily, keeping things from breaking up. Again, it's not overly drying. It doesn't cling to any dry patches. So I really liked this powder a lot. So I've bought some higher end powders that honestly did not perform as well as this one. They did tend to get caked up on me. They did change the shade of my foundation. They gave kind of more of a white cast. They had, you know, they felt just super dry. But this one, it's almost kind of, it was hydrating for a powder, which sounds strange, but it just did not dry out my face like I've had a lot of powders do. Usually I'll go in with powder and I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta get setting spray on this like stat. And because it just felt like all the moisture had been completely sucked out of my skin. But with this one did not do that. So this powder, I definitely 10 out of 10 for this one. I would absolutely recommend this. I will keep using this. And when I finally run out, if I ever run out, I will definitely be buying another one of these. So the next item we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild MegaGlo Contour Palette. I really love this. Actually, I was kind of shocked because when I first purchased it, I was like, yeah, that contour shade is just a little too warm tone for me. I felt like it could have been a little bit more cooler, a little bit more gray toned. But then whenever I went to apply it, I was like, okay, yeah, change my mind. This is actually a very good shade for me. When it comes to a contour powder, it really helped enhance that natural hollow that I had in my face without looking too gray. Because if you get them that are too gray and too cool tone, they can sometimes tend to look a little muddy and that you've just kind of got like a gray line. But this has really helped enhance the features of my face, and without being, again, like I said, too muddy, too gray, anything like that. But it's just cool enough. So it's like right in between that warm and cool. So it's like right there in the middle. So for me, it was perfect. And I love that it comes in the little duo. So that way you can kind of use the brightening highlighter one to set your under eyes, to set any other places that you've used any kind of like brightening concealer. You can also, if you got a little too crazy with your bronzer or your contour powder, you can go back in with the more banana shade, the more highlighting shade of the palette, and kind of go in and correct that and kind of sort of haze it out. So that way, and it just really helps you kind of blend that out. So it's kind of nice to have the little duo action situation where you can kind of get you know, more bang for your buck and kind of get the 2-for-1 on that. So I'm very happy with this. I really enjoyed this for contouring, and I'm definitely going to continue using this for that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer. This is probably one of my favorite products that I've tried. I really, really like the finish on this. Normally I go for more of a matte bronzer, but because I really try to steer away from any kind of bronzer that has like chunks of glitter in it. I'm not a big fan of chunks of glitter, especially when because glitter's hard to control. It usually like is very unevenly distributed, and I just don't like looking like I've gotten glitter bombed or anything like that. So really the only kind of glitter situation that I like is if it's on my eyes, really sun-kissed like glowing finish on it. So I really, and it looks matte in the pan, but it's like as soon as you apply it, it just got the most beautiful, beautiful sheen to it. And the sun and the light just catch it and reflect it beautifully. And I really, really love the tone. It really warmed up my face. It was very easy to work with. It was very creamy, very blendable. So definitely continue using this one. 100% thumbs up on this. I would absolutely recommend this as a bronzer powder if you were in the market for one. So the next items I'm going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Hello Halo Blush Lighters. I really like these. When you look in the pan, they almost look a little bit too glittery, like as if there would be chunks of glitter in here. But the blushes, I like to apply shimmery blushes more from this point upward, because I already kind of have round cheeks as it is. So if I put highlighter on the round part of my cheek, it can tend to make that part look a little bit more pronounced than I would like it to be. So for more of a lifted look, I'll kind of just go from here upward. So I really like the shimmery. I also like the idea of using these on kind of like a no makeup kind of day. So you want the parts of your face that you normally would highlight that kind of reflect light and catch it and just kind of, ooh, like goodness, she's glowing, like look at her, dang. So these are really nice for that. So like you wouldn't even have to use the highlighters, just a little touch of blush over like a tinted moisturizer, pop on a little bronzer in the crease, a little bit of mascara, and you'd be good to go. So I really enjoyed these for that fact. The highlighters do have a little bit more of a glittery touch to them, but I still like them. They're very beautiful. They're very eye-catching. If you were out in the sun, they would just be, I mean, you would just be beaming. Like they could literally, like everyone would have to wear sunglasses, because I mean, it just is the most reflective and light catching, and it's very beautiful when applied to the correct spots that are going to flatter your face shape the best. So I absolutely would recommend these. Alright, so next thing we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Brow-Sessive. I really did like this brow gel. It does seem to have held them in place. It gave a nice shape to the brows. It kind of defined those hairs to be more hair-like. I did really enjoy this one. However, so I actually do prefer the NYX, the brow glue, better. It seems to have held them, this seems to hold my brows more in place. And it almost kind of gives, it makes your brows a little bit more stiff, this one does, but not in a way that it looks like they're stiff. Like they don't look like you straight up put glue in your eyebrows and kind of just looks really clunky and chunky in there. This one kind of just helped come through. Now they all still look very natural and hair-like. It doesn't feel like there's really anything in there. Whereas this one, you can really, really feel that they're on there. Neither one look as if there is anything on there, which is really good, because I mean, personally, I don't like the look that it just looks like you've put glue in your eyebrows. I like the way that this one held my brows in place a little bit better. I felt like that this one still did a great job. Alright, so next thing we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Eyeliner. So I didn't like this. I tried really hard to work with it. I thought maybe it was just that first initial bit, like sometimes you kind of have to wipe off the first initial bit, and then it was going to work. I swatched it and tried to get that first initial bit off, kept going in with it, tried and tried and tried, and I could not get it to apply to my waterline. I am going to try this on the top lash line and see how it does, just to see if I can get some kind of use for it. But as of right now, it did not work on the waterline, so I would not recommend this one for the waterline if you were in the market for specifically a waterline eyeliner. So next thing we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild MegaSlim Skinny Tip Eyeliner. It's got the tiniest little tip on it, which I really like, because since I've got hooded eyes, I like when I apply my eyeliner, I like to keep it really snugged in close to that lash line, so that way whenever I open my eyes, you can actually somewhat see the eyeshadow look that I've done on top, as opposed to just nothing but the band of liner. So I like that the small tip on this allows me to have a little bit more control and really get it in there. Now, if I was doing a winged liner, it would be nice to kind of have a longer applicator that has a little bit of like swerve to it, so that way kind of flick it up. But it would be nice to do wing liner with this as well, especially if you were kind of doing a more control, like a little baby wing or something. So you just have a little bit more control over the pen. The finish on this wasn't overly mattifying, nor was it overly shiny. It was just kind of right there in the middle. It was extremely pigmented, extremely black. So I really enjoy this. Going to continue using this one probably on a daily basis, because I really like the applicator on it. Really like the finish on it. So 10 out of 10 from me on this one. So next thing we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Big Poppa Mascara. I really enjoyed this one. It really does kind of give that false lash effect. I like the wand on it. I didn't think I was going to like the wand for the bottom lashes, but actually didn't make a mess on me. I was kind of being a little cautious, knowing that usually wands like that do make a mess on me. And it doesn't take forever to dry either, but it doesn't dry too quickly. So normally I've got to put a coat of mascara on, wait a little bit till it gets kind of tacky, and then go in with my second layer, so that way I can build on top of something. With this one, I didn't have to wait but just a few seconds, and it was ready for the second coat. So I really enjoyed this one a lot. Great for the upper lashes, great for the lower lashes. Creates a false lash effect without having to put on any kind of false lashes, without having to fool with the glue. So normally I do curl my lashes, but this one actually seemed to have curled them up, and it's holding them in place. I'm not having it flake off on me. It's not flaking off down onto my face. So it's staying in place. It's still looking good. So I absolutely would recommend this one. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Wet n Wild Cloud Pout Marshmallow Lip Mousse. This stuff smells like a freaking dream. I mean, it just, it's so good. Like, I feel like I need that in a dessert or a candle, either one. So in those 5 hours, I kind of was testing it and kind of drinking and, you know, seeing if it would come off, seeing if it was going to smudge, give me any problems whatsoever. And it didn't. Like, it stayed on, which is wonderful, especially when it comes to a lip product. Sometimes I'll apply lip product on at home, I'll forget to bring it with me, and then it rubs off, and then it's kind of as if you just didn't put it on at all. This one has stayed. It's kind of like, it stays like a liquid lip without being overly drying. So the reason I wanted to try this is because it said it was a marshmallow lip mousse, which to me just sounded like it would be more creamy, more comfortable, easy to wear. So, and it turned out that it was. Like, fortunately, that marketing term, that mousse, that got me. I was like, okay, yes, that's accurate, because it is one of the most comfortable lip products that I've ever used that has kind of given a more matte effect. It's not completely matte. Like I said, it's not overly drying. If you wanted to add just a little bit of pop of gloss on top, you could without this moving in place. I would just recommend apply this, let it kind of dry down a little bit, and then pop your gloss on top, and then you would just have a really great lip combo in that. So these I 100% would recommend. I'm looking forward to trying the other shades, because this has become one of my favorite lip products that I've found so far. So really like these. 10 out of 10 from me on these. So last thing is the Wet n Wild PhotoFocus Natural Finish Setting Spray. It does come in a very tiny bottle, so you don't get a whole lot of it. And I liked the sprayer on it. I liked that it kind of came out with purpose, and it normally when you spray, it just kind of floats out and only like a portion of it actually gets on your face because the rest of it just floated off to Never Never Land. This like intentionally came to set your makeup, and it got on there and it didn't come out, and like it still kind of was like a fine mist, but it just came out more forcefully. So it was just directly onto your face. It had a widespread spray on it, so it was pretty much got your whole entire face with just one spray, because it just kind of really fanned out a lot more. The only thing I don't care about this is that it is such a small bottle, and it actually kind of tended to, like, I don't know, like leave a sticky kind of feeling on my face, which I'm the type of person that if I can feel makeup on my face, I don't care for that. Like, I want to put makeup on that's going to feel natural, doesn't feel like I have makeup on, like I legit just want to forget it's even there. And I don't know if it's this. I don't 100% know if it's this that's causing it or if it's something underneath. So I'll keep trying it. I'll kind of let you guys know. But right now it feels like that's kind of the culprit, kind of causing that sticky weird feeling on top. So kind of like a, I don't know, maybe like a 7 out of 10, because everything else I did like. I like how it fused my makeup together. It melted in the skin. It made it look more natural. I like the sprayer on it, everything like that. I don't like that it doesn't feel natural. So it's really just the feeling that's kind of bothering me, but it doesn't make my makeup look sticky or oily or anything weird like that. It's just more the feeling. So if that doesn't bother you, then you will love this. If that does bother you, you may not love this. Alright, so that's it, guys. We have went through everything. If you guys have any questions about anything that you're interested in me trying, let me know. Makeup is just, so doing makeup, finding makeup, applying makeup, you know, trying out new products is just kind of a really good artistic outlet for me. So I really enjoy this. So if you guys have anything you're curious about, don't hesitate to ask. You know, we're kind of in this together, trying to find the best products that give you more bang for your buck, products that perform well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found some products that you thought might do well for you, might save you a little bit of cash. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!